All right, so welcome. This is the Ripple Effect. This is not the Ripple Effect. We got you!
You're listening to The Ripple Affect with your hosts, Cheech and Nibby, a podcast that explores how individual change has the capacity to affect the whole.
From neuroscience to donuts, we're two sisters with a deep curiosity for ancient wisdom and modern knowledge, and we're obsessed with learning alongside you because we don't know. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Ripple Effect podcast. Isa here. For this week's episode, we're sharing a special guest spot Chiara and I did on someone else's podcast. And that someone else is our producer, Michelle Asaro's Jack of No Trades podcast. If you listened to last week's kitchen table talk where we had Mish at our table, then you already know how much we love her as our producer, as our friend, and honestly, she's just an overall brilliant human. In this episode, we step onto the other side of the mic and get interviewed. We share the story behind the podcast, how it started, what was really going on in our lives at the time, and the moments that pushed us to finally stop waiting and actually do something with it. We also talk about childhood dreams, career pivots, and detours that didn't quite fit, and how this podcast became something that's actively shaped how we grow and navigate change in real time. By the end of this episode, you'll walk away with a clearer sense of what it looks like to follow what feels aligned, even when it doesn't make logical sense, along with a deeper insight into our own lives and career trajectories. The arc of what we thought we'd be as kids and how those unexpected paths ultimately led us here. All right, let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Jack of No Trades podcast, a podcast about people and what they do. I'm your host, Michelle Asaro, and today's episode, I interviewed Isa Griffin and Chiara Chavez, otherwise known as Nibby and Cheech. They are the co-hosts and sisters behind the podcast Ripple Effect. Spoiler, I am also a contributing producer on that podcast. We do talk in length about our process behind it, the power and the challenges of change, and inspiration behind the inception of Ripple Effect. So without further ado, here is my conversation. Okay. Take two. Welcome. This is the Jack of No Trades podcast. I'm your host, Michelle. I am with both Isa and Chiara, who are the founders and co-hosts for Ripple Affect, which is a very, very cool podcast, which is celebrating its third year now, or recently celebrated its third year. Yeah, sorry. I've also been working on the back end. I wasn't gonna say it. For almost the whole time. So we've been working on like the new batch of things that's going to come out, which is great. Real quick, we'll go into just a really, really highbrow, tell me about Ripple Affect and your experience so far.
So the Ripple Affect podcast is a sister-led podcast, and it is all about change. So Chiara and I started this podcast from a place of really wanting to show up in the world and make a difference and make a change. And we followed that calling. And so far, it's been really fulfilling and successful in our own definition of success. And we, throughout the process, have had this question or this hypothesis of, how do we change the world for the better? And we realized, you do that by changing yourself. And then that led us to dig in a little deeper and consider, well, how do you change yourself? And then realize, like everybody has realized who's gone through change is fucking hard. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of different tools and like a lot of different elements to change. And so we decided to dig into those in our podcast and explore change in all its facets. And so that's what the podcast is about.
Okay.
Do you want to add to that, Chiara?
No, that was great. That was good. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to baby Isa and baby Chiara. What did you guys want to be when you were growing up? You're 5 years old, dream pie in the sky. This is what I'm going to be.
Can I just say, I've been sad and disappointed, and I've expressed this before, that I am the younger sister and I didn't get to know baby Chiara.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I've never heard you say that.
I'm sad about that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because you were so cute.
Oh, baby Chiara.
I wish I could have picked you up and like held you. Like you were so cute. Like I see pictures of you.
That's adorable. What did I want what did I think I was going to be when I grew up?
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be an actress.
Mm-hmm.
Don't adjust my mic. Don't do it.
You're making me nervous,
needs help.
Isa.
I don't.
Don't. That's gonna be the promo right there. Done and done.
I remember I wasn't maybe 5, but I was probably 10, 9, and I actually have it written down somewhere where, career day at school or whatever, they're like, what are you going to be? And I was like, I'm going to be an actress. I want to be an actress. And I'm sure we're going to go into this later, but I left that at 10. I didn't pick that up and keep going with that. And it wasn't until I was like 20 something that I went to myself and was like, what did I want for myself when I was little? Mm-hmm. And I thought back and I was like, oh, that's right. So I did a whole other life before that.
So funny. I wanted to be a dentist.
Really?
I knew that.
I didn't know that. Okay.
My 6-year-old self wanted to be a dentist because I thought I would always have a job. I could work anywhere in the world because everybody has
practical of
teeth.
you. Very practical 6-year-old Isa.
I was a very practical 6-year-old child, yes. So I wanted to be a dentist for a while. That's what I calculated out that I wanted to do. But Chiara actually asked me this question when I was a little girl. I remember it really clearly. We were upstairs in our second story bathroom, and she was like, Isa, if you could do anything when you grew up, what would you do? And I sat there and like looked at her and I said, I would have my own show.
I remember that.
Really?
I think I asked you follow-up questions.
Yes, you did. I can't remember what the follow-up questions were, but I remember being like, oh, I think I would, I think, in the era of Oprah being so big and all these shows being, self-help shows being really a big thing and the live audiences. And I remember vaguely thinking like, that would be cool to be able to like help people and like be on camera. Cause I really loved the like glam of it. Even when I was a kid, I remember I was in kindergarten once and they said, we're going to have a makeup day. And in my head, I thought we were doing makeup. And I got so fucking excited. And I was like, oh my God, I was so happy. And then it was like, oh, we were making up work. We had
So wrong, like, different makeup.
Super sad.
Very different makeup.
Super sad. I was obsessed with like music videos. Oh my God, I was obsessed with music videos.
I was too.
You have the dance thing now too.
Well, my dance, that's what I found an old, my parents, because I just recently moved. My parents had me clean out a bunch of crap that was at their house, right? And I found like old like elementary school stuff, like reports and shit that I was like, why do you guys have this? But one of them was like, when I grow up, I'm going to be a dancer. And like, that's what I put in. And I was like, oh, she was more in tune than she thought.
Yes.
So,
which is why I really look forward to going to one of your dance classes that you're going to be teaching.
Ooh. Yeah. Hopefully if I can finish this stupid piece, I'm about halfway through. So I have like 3 8 counts. I know.
You're going to. 3 8 counts, you said? You only had 3 8 counts?
I know, but it's always like
I know
okay,
it.
but now I'm making this too hard. No, okay, no, just kidding. Okay, this is stupid. It's doing that whole
I know
id
that
challenge.
process.
Yeah. It's the id challenge that I'm like, okay, I gotta work on that. But yes, thank you. Yes, thank you for keeping me accountable, keeping me honest.
On air.
On air. We call you out now.
You know what? It lives on forever.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Timestamp? Can we get a timestamp on that?
Okay, so then what made you decide that, all right, dentistry, and then for you, what is acting? You're like, no, I don't want to do it. Just kidding. What made you do the detour? What started the detour?
Like Isa said, it was a calculated thing. Somewhere when I was in high school, maybe junior high, I had it was junior high. I had this moment where I was like, I'm going to do interior design. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And I did not look back until I graduated with a degree in bachelor's of interior design.
Yeah.
And started working in it and came to it and went, I don't want it. That was when I had I went to Ireland with my mom and my sister, my other sister. And I came back from that trip and I was like, what do I really want to do with my life? This was post-graduation, post-working in interior design, post like doing all these things. And I turned and said to myself, like, what am I doing? And how do I find out what I want to do in my life? And I thought back to that time of like, what did I want from when I was little? What did my 10-year-old self want? And that was when I went acting. But for the time from when I was like 12 or 13, 14 till I graduated at 25, I was like, I'm going to do interior design. And I think now that I look back on it, it was because I had this really unconscious or subconscious want to improve interiors because I grew up in a plywood box. Like we didn't have a finished home. There were no closets. There were no walls. There, was no, what am I trying to say? Drywall. We like didn't have, and so it created a lot of chaos in the home. But then, so I went hard that direction with kind of, now I look back, satisfying an unconscious or subconscious kind of need or want.
She can be taught. Okay.
Okay, so wrapping that thought up, I went fully into interior design just like, this is what I'm going to do. But I realized now it was from like this subconscious like want to solve a problem I had as a young person, to give, thinking it would satisfy me to give back to people with beautiful interiors, be able to be that designer for the thing that I needed. But it wasn't. I was not a good interior designer. I should not be doing that. Like it stressed me out beyond belief. College almost broke me for other reasons too. So when I got back to that place of what did I want for myself when I was little, it was like a rejuvenation of like chasing finally something, pursuing something that was more of a fit for me and was definitely more fulfilling and just in the right area or pocket or line of thinking that was aligned with me as a hit switch. But it was a detour for sure.
We've all been there. What was your detour?
I think I didn't have a full detour. I think I followed the lead of being in service my whole career there, but it was just, I kind of bounced to different areas. So seeing Chiara go through college and having it be such a stressful thing for her, I knew my perceived abilities. Chiara was a big sister who was very academically strong and really strong in sports. And I was a little bit in that shadow. And so seeing her and my perception of like, oh, my big sister can do anything. And if this is hard on her, I'm not going to survive. And so I didn't go to college out of high school. I went to beauty school. And then from there, I went into aesthetics and I worked in spas. I moved to Hawaii. I had a ton of different jobs, some in service, some in sales. And I kind of always had this want to be of service. And so I stayed in that area.
That realm.
The whole time. And then I got to the podcast. It was we kind of fell into that backwards. It wasn't really that intentional. It wasn't like we both were like, we want to start a podcast. It was very much I don't want to say calling because that sounds a little cheesy, but it was almost like a call out. It felt like a call out. Like we got to step up to the plate and do something with who we are and what we have and our connections and our, perspectives and, all this indigenous wisdom that was passed down to us from elders. And that kind of fell into our laps. And I think we've followed that. So my detour I don't feel like I had such an extreme situation where I like knew what I wanted when I was a kid and then abandoned it and came back to it like a lot of people do. I think I just slowly went towards it and found different elements of what that actually meant. I mean, I recently just got my degree in psychology and I thought like, oh, I'm going to be a therapist. That's what I'm going to do. And I got my degree and I had to take a big long pause and be like, wait a minute, do I want to deal with symptomatology and sick mental states and people really being struggling really hard and needing a lot of support? And, do I want to do that? Can I handle that? Is that really the path for me? And, it's again in service, but I don't think it's not the right path for me. So I'm still like pivoting, and I'm grateful to have the project because it helps me be able to assimilate all that information and give it back to people and have that degree not be for nothing, but also like, you know, keep following this path that I feel like is best aligned for me.
No.
Well, I just wanted to connect the dots.
No rebuttal.
Yeah. No, not a rebuttal.
No and then.
That's good. Okay. No and then, but. And then I want to connect the dots because I realize people don't know me from your podcast that I went and pursued acting and did have a career in acting, or I wouldn't call it a career, but I was connected and made money in it for about 9 years. And then the call out happened from Isa, which was a literal call that she gave me one day in 2020 after you watched 13th. And it was, oh, Isa, yeah, I know this is hard. But she was really adamant, like, no, what are we going to do? We have to do something. And I was like, oh, man, sis, that's a big question. And then she was like, no, what are you going to do? Like, I don't know if we've ever told that on the podcast, even our podcast, that like, it wasn't a, what are we going to do? Isa, through her tears and everything, I was like, I know, sis, it's really hard. George Floyd had just gotten murdered. All these things were like, the world was falling apart. And she was like, no. What are you going to do? You have knowledge and abilities and skill sets and wisdom, and like, how are you going to step up to the plate? You can't hide anymore.
Right.
Like, we can't hide anymore. We can't be quiet. We can't stay silent. We can't. It's not okay. And I was moved by that. And I was like, damn, are you calling me out? Our brother-in-law says that. So I literally said that back to her. And she was like, she stayed in the pocket. She was like, yeah, I am. And there was like this pause. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know, sis, but it's weird and it's going to sound weird, but all I keep hearing is podcast.
Why podcast?
I don't know why podcast. It came through.
And then I was a little weirded out because I was like, I keep hearing it too.
Really?
Yeah, no, we both, and I was like, oh, and from the side, like we've talked about it on our podcast, it was this like inner knowing, but no, it was like an outer spirit talking to us, you know, when people get really woo-woo spirit, but it was a more concretely like a knowing, like, oh, we can't ignore this. We hear this from our intuition, from the other side, from somewhere. This is a, like, almost when you get goosebumps, when you jinx someone, when you say it at the same time, oh, you're thinking the same thing. It was like something in the ether was thinking it and telling us, and when we both were independently thinking it. And so then I listened. We both were like, okay. I knew fucking nothing about doing a podcast. I had no desire either, meaning
the club.
No, I mean, and I didn't ever even think about that. I had skills as an actor. I love talking, but I didn't know the first thing. But I did trust that voice, that thing I heard. And since she heard it too, I was like, I guess we're doing this.
Yep.
Tell me about the beginnings of the podcast, even before I joined the team. Like, was there anything like, we got to talk about this, and then we got to talk about this? Was there any topics that came to mind that bubbled up first?
Well, I was going to say, it's funny because it would be great if we jumped right into recording. We did not. We were like, we don't know anything. Let's go learn something. And Isa found this course. What was it?
It was Jenna Kutcher's podcast lab course.
And was like, I think we should do a retreat and learn about podcasting. And she has this course that like lays it out for us. But the previous conversation that Isa already enumerated about earlier of like what the podcast is about was our pre-talk of like, what is this podcast going to be about? And it was, I think, further into that same conversation, we were like, well, how do we change? How do we change the world? Like, how do we change affect change?
Yeah.
And it came back, like Isa said, like, well, we have to work on ourselves. Like, okay, that's what the podcast is going to be about. We're going to figure out how do we change ourselves for the better, our personal growth, and we're going to follow that. And I think the first part was like, well, if we're going to grow into podcasters, we have to learn how to podcast. Like, what do you do? And that course was awesome. So we went into education. That was what we did for ourselves to start. And then topics, is that what you asked?
Yeah. If you had any topics you're like, we have to cover this.
Yeah, I remember us just kind of musing on what would be cool. Like, what would be really cool? Like, if we talked to like a neuroscientist or about change, or if we had like, you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson on about, like, we really just let ourselves kind of imagine, you know, what would be really cool, what we would want.
And then we were like, okay, well, what have we already done? Like, how have we changed? Like, we realized we're like, well, we spent a lot of money, time, energy, just tears, getting ourselves, where we are today at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked around and we realized, like, we are not farther along than people, but we do want to be in service. And we know, like, we've helped our friends. We have things to offer inside that conversation and beyond. So we kind of were like, well, what have we done? Well, we've done somatic therapies. I've done Akashic records. We've done therapy. We've gotten degrees. Like, we've done things, we've had conversations. So we just kind of that was where we started.
Okay.
Yeah. And we also realized there's one big thing about change that has helped us is we didn't do it alone.
Yeah. Okay.
We were like, oh, we've experienced change and we're going to continue to experience change. But what has helped us the most are these like teams of people and practitioners and tools that we've put together for ourselves to help us cope through those times and grow and heal. And we wanted to bring that to our listeners, to share those people that are amazing at what they do, that we feel grateful and just happen to have been born into a place and a community that had these really wonderful healers. Yeah. And we wanted to be able to showcase them and share them. And so we started there.
And we also, I realized, like, started to explore what worked for us and then what were the gaps that we needed. So it was like, we still do this to this day. Like, what are we going through? And we trust that it's going to help somebody else. So we talk about, and then for structure though, we talk about, like, we started talking about, like, okay, what is this going to be like? Because Jenna Kutcher's course is like, okay, you have to decide, are you going to have guests on? Are you going to, be a solo podcast? And so we fell into the structure that is the structure we have, because we're like, well, there's 3 different ways that we want to, like, help people talk to others, or how we've been helped. Actually, it was like to talk to others, or to gain information from friends or elders, or other practitioners. We go to the practitioners themselves, but conversations. So we have our sofa series where we, like, interview people. This, producer, but then we also, they don't. So
yeah,
and then we also have these. What else helps? Like, I remember I was saying, like, conversations help me. Yeah, like couch conversations where I'm having a hard time and a friend can come and show up, help me. So we have, and then, but talking to my sister helps me. So we have the kitchen table talks where we talk and try to work out our shit together. And then come up with, like, oh, okay, that's a point. That's a recognition point. I can change there. I need more help there. And then the other is more tactical in nature, which was our version of, like, well, what do I go do? I go research, or I go, like, dig and go to a therapist, or go to a place, and bringing those, like, kind of more tactical bite information is what we call it. Like, how can we actually affect change for people and give them a shortcut, or at least a hand up?
Yeah, actionable. That was really important to us, because, like, change is, not like you're not sitting on the bench of change. You're really in it, and you're playing, and that actionable advice, actionable takeaways are important to have something to hold on to and move towards. So that was important to add the tactical bite in there.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite things about your podcast and working with it behind the scenes, and I think it was used as a tagline in the beginning, was because change is messy, or change is hard, or change is, stifling, or like we pick like really prickly words, I guess, to summarize change. And I think this is one of the first podcasts, or even like just a source of learning, period, where it acknowledges that change is not quite so clean and neat, and is actually pretty messy and turbulent at times, and throws you to the wind. Is there anything that you guys, you're like, I don't know if that was a conscious thing for you guys to call out, but I was like, oh, I really like that about it. But is there anything about you guys that you're like, I really like this portion of, like, I like this learning, or this highlight, I think, that we've put a spotlight on?
Yeah, that change is a process, and that, like you said, you're not going through it alone, but more importantly, like that you have to go, like a process, you have to go through it, and it's going to be messy, and it has a purpose in terms of that's growth. Like, change is growth. Mm-hmm. But inside the podcast, this is like, I don't know if this is exactly answering the question, but it is something I want to highlight for myself and for anyone listening about this podcast, about us, is that the project itself has made me grow and has called me to live in a way that I want to say is the project. Like, I'll give an example. When we were starting to turn out episodes, and I did all the editing, and I was starting to feel a lot of pressure, and I was starting to like get stressed out about it, and about the project itself. And this is a normal behavior for me that is a dysfunctional behavior for me, that is anxiety and pressurization around creativity. And I came to her at one point. I remember I was sitting over here because we're recording in my house. So I was standing at the edge of the stairwell, and I was like, I'm like not okay, Right. And we had this conversation, and Isa pointed out to me, she was like, yeah, the podcast is calling us to do something different.
Yeah.
And so for me, and that really was a breakthrough, because I was like, right, this is my project, and this is it informing me how to grow and be better, just be different, do something different.
Yeah.
And that is change. And so I felt like this podcast has been the impetus of change for me, and I have allowed myself to change through it. And it's through it. Like, I needed this creative project to help me, and I keep following that to be in its nature, the power that it is to follow the truth of it, and to be truthful about it, and to hopefully let that reflect out in the episodes, but just the behind the scenes of it mirroring the real. And that's what I think is different about our podcast, is that like we try to keep it real. We're not experts. We're in it with everyone, and we want that. We want everyone to feel that they're in it with us, because they actually are, and we want to build community around it. And that's really what we're building. And so you have the real of change, like Brene Brown says it, like if you are coming up to her and be like, I love vulnerability, it's the best, like how can I do more? She's like, you're not doing it.
Yeah. I hate vulnerability. Are you kidding me?
Because it's icky, and it's hard, and it's uncomfortable, and that's what I think vulnerability and change are synonymous in that way.
Yeah,
I agree. And honesty. Mm-hmm. I think that might be my favorite part of this project, is the honesty that's gone into the project. It's one of the places that I feel I'm my most authentic self. The relationship that I have with Chiara, and my ability to play the role of just me and who I really am, and like how silly and weird and goofy, and that might be my favorite part, because for me, I've often worn masks or played roles in my life of, oh, I'm the model, and so I have to curate my Instagram feed this way, or I'm work with children, so I can't do like burlesque work. Like I have to kind of segregate these parts of myself, and the podcast has allowed me to just be me And that feels really good. And so that might be my favorite part, of the podcast is the space allowed to be messy.
Yeah.
To be vulnerable, to be honest about what I'm going through, and trust that may be the type of service that feels a little bit counterintuitive because it's not buttoned up and it's not luxury service. It's not with a cherry on top and in a serene spa environment, but I think it serves me the most. And I have to trust that will serve others as well, to be okay with not being okay sometimes,
Yeah. Or just feeling like the ground is no longer supporting you in the way that it used to. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, no, I was sparked by thinking about listeners, thinking about, who's listening to this? And I think the biggest impact that being a podcaster, it's not being a podcaster, it's being a podcaster to this project.
Yeah.
The alignment of this project. That's been the biggest difference. I have recognized, because I've done a lot of different things. I went to school for interior design. I have a degree in art history. I worked for myself as an entrepreneur. I've worked for companies. I've sold furniture. I've been a fine dining server.
But have you sold vacuum cleaners door to door?
Not yet.
Still on the list.
Still on the list.
So
You'll get there.
That's
She's
so
like,
dumb.
you're so corny.
So dumb.
I know. You're... Cheech, I just want to remind you chose this. You chose this last.
I chose both of you.
You chose both of us.
Happily, but then I'm like, oh my God.
Just for anybody who does watch this is like our production meetings.
These are. No. But often I'm not the funniest in the room. That's for sure. These two. Okay.
Goofy.
So what was my point? I was saying.
You've done a lot of things.
Oh no, I've done a lot of things, and I only recognized after doing this podcast with my sister what it feels like to be in an aligned job and an aligned project. I've done a lot of projects for other people, and as I was saying, there wasn't the space to be in process with myself. I think was one, but the other was just it wasn't aligned. I didn't fucking care about those things.
Yeah.
And when I look at it and how much easier, meaning with ease, not easier as in I have no difficulties, but with ease, meaning I can grow, I can be myself, like Isa was saying, and it's never felt like work.
Yeah.
And I didn't ever believe that when people be like, oh, when you find what you love, it won't feel like work. I was like, okay.
I agree. I've never really thought that was real either. Or I've I didn't know. Yeah, I think, you're right. It's the challenges don't go away.
No.
But how you approach them, how you feel in them is different.
Yeah. For me, I think the biggest thing that I've noticed just on my end, because I started Jack of No Trades about 6 months, I think, before you guys did yours, was it I didn't realize how much that doing something that was so out of my box of my what I normally managed, because I was a project manager and I've worked in production and I've worked behind the scenes and I did a little bit of acting, but nothing that really felt like this. And nothing where it was my voice specifically. And that I didn't realize even all the insecurities I had until I started to do it and then started to build my confidence in it. And it's not even so much that am I executing perfectly? It's just more of a, okay, but can I do it? Yes. I've proven that to myself. Normally a year ago, if you had said, Michelle or Chiara, Isa, I'm going to put you guys on camera, I would have been a nervous wreck going into this, and I would have been up all night trying to figure out okay, well, but this isn't going to be perfect. I don't have the right camera skills and I don't have the right rigging and and now it's kind of okay, all right, well, would it be nice if you had all that? Yes, it would be fabulous. However, this is where you're at, this is what you can do, so this is what you're going to do,
And it can still feel good.
and it can still feel good.
That's what's nuts. Or it can be uncomfortable, but then it's you've taught me, but it gets done.
But it gets done.
It can actually get out into the world, and it's not just
Yeah.
hidden and saved on our hard drives and
Yeah.
not going anywhere. And that permission with the podcast of one of the other themes is the almost clan comes from it almost is good enough. It can be.
Yeah.
Like if you just keep showing up, a lot of almost means a lot of
Stuff.
of movement.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful what you're saying, that
Yeah.
you're able to do that. That is not easy.
No. And I didn't even realize exactly how much that fed into other things where it's like, okay, all right, well, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be there.
How did you get to that place?
Fucking up a lot. I think some of it also for me at least was because I'm older. I something happened around year 40 that I just got. I heard somebody else say it this way and I thought it was really funny. I got a big old case of the fuckets and like was like, you know what, I only know that I am here now. I don't know for how much longer. What do I want my story to be? And I have no control over, whether or not someone hires me, whether or not someone likes me, whether or not someone, wants to work with me, period. I can't control. There's so much I cannot control. This is one thing I can control. It's wildly uncomfortable at times. Like, I'm not very good at putting myself out there and be like, hi, want to come on my podcast? Still one of like the not cringy, but yeah, kind of uncomfortable, icky kind of conversations of things like that. Like, what are you working on? And then I have to talk about this.
It's vulnerable.
It's vulnerable. Yeah. So it's still not like, I wouldn't say I'm great at it, but I've proven to myself that I can't do it. And I think enough of times you do that and say that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And also I'm going to really try not just do, half-assed whatever. And if it doesn't fall out, that's fine. Don't do that.
You're not actually on the hook for it because you're like, I didn't really try fully. I didn't really put myself out there. So like if I had, I probably could have gone.
Exactly.
You don't have to actually face failure.
Yeah. You can be like, I'm still perfect because my perfectionist rendition in my head of what I thought I was going to do. Well, I didn't really try to do that anyways.
Yeah.
So
that is such a cunning.
That little voice right there is a little bitch. I cannot stand that voice, but
You're making that voice your bitch by doing it.
I've been trying, but it's not easy. I mean, that's part of the reason why when you guys were like, hey, you want to continue to, produce with me? I was like, okay, let's try this. Because it's also, yes, it's outside of my wheelbox. It's one thing to tell myself what I'm going to be doing. It's another thing to be like, have you guys thought about this?
Oh, man.
Do you like this idea?
I'm so glad you do because you're so good at it, dude.
That's also a really interesting new perspective I've never thought about of you producing our podcast is the vulnerability that you have coming into that role and suggesting things. Like for us, it feels so fucking helpful and just like so almost like, well, Misha's providing everything we could possibly need to do. We just got to show up and do those things, like that's what it feels like to us. So to hear you even express that, like that is a process that is vulnerable for you and that you put those inputs in and ride that line of like, how much do I suggest to them? How much do I guide them? When do I pull back and say like, this is a decision for you guys to make versus where we're like, Mish, will you make this decision for us? Like I never really thought about that. So thank you for continuing to show up even in uncomfortable ways for your own growth and for the podcast and to support us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys have been open enough with me about, times when you're like, I'm not feeling so hot right now. It's like,
again, it's the honesty, right?
Yeah.
Like that feels so good. I mean, the podcast.
I thought you were saying like today, Junior. I was like, wait, what? What happened?
No, I said like today. And I have this giant cup of tea.
I swear it's not alcohol, it's tea.
It's so big. It's a bowl of tea.
Oh, those are my favorites. Is the big.
Grateful. I made that bowl for her.
Because I needed it. Because today is one of those days that I'm not okay. And I'm showing up because it was totally worth it.
Yeah,
still here.
But I will say, can I just say it's worth it and easier because it's you. I will say that. And your commitment to what you were saying earlier about just, like it is where it is. I am where I am. Mm-hmm. I'm learning, like lowers the cortisol levels in my body, full stop, where I can be like, oh, this isn't a performative space. This is a space of what's real.
Yeah.
Okay. that means I can show up where I am and trust and not be anxious about it. And that's you're doing that for me.
Well, because I can't operate that way.
There was something you said pre-talk actually about how we got here and what's the process like that I remember thinking, oh, I really want to highlight that about. I remember. Is that all right if I just kind of...
Of course, go for it.
Well, because we're talking pre-talk about or talking pre-recording, sorry, not pre-talk. What the fuck is pre-talk?
When we talked pre-talk. Promo 2. Got it.
I was gonna say how it all fits in. Sometimes you were saying like, how did you get here to being a podcaster? That was one of the pre-questions of thinking about it. And I was like, I remember that I took because one of my other careers as I was pursuing acting, my other career is a consultant, and I do like career coaching. Life consulting, and I do it through a spiritual lens of the Akashic Records. And at the time I was pre-2020, I think it was, I was doing a course called DCA. What was it? It was Digital Course Academy. So,
okay.
And it was for putting together a digital course because this was the thing everybody was selling. And it was a lot of money, and I went in with it with my friend, which I've done so many different times. Mm-hmm. And I got into this course, and it was very thorough. I'll remember the woman's name later, and you can put it in the show notes, but really good. However, when I got to the place where she was like, okay, in order to launch your course, because I was going to try to help people, I have a couple courses I've taught in my time around creativity, or, and so I got to the place and she was like, okay, now when, she maps it all out and she's like, so what you're going to need is a platform. You're going to need a platform to release your course. You're going to need a podcast, or you're going to need to have, at least a website. Or like there was all these different, a platform
social
could be,
media,
a social media
something.
platform, like somewhere where you're going to have to be successful. You're going to have this place.
Yeah.
And so I remember that's where I stopped. I was like, okay. And that was in January of 2020. And this conversation we had about the podcast was later on in the spring, I want to say. Yeah, no, June, later on in the summer, because George Floyd got murdered. And so that was then. But I remember in between, it was always so like icky. I was like, I don't want to be selling courses. And one of my courses, this is where I'm going with this. One of my courses was how to heal through your creative projects. It was something I had like downloaded with the Akashic Records and my own intuition around like what creativity actually looks like. How do you actually get something from a thought and a creative want out into the world?
Yeah.
And I led a women's group to do this. Like it was called Arise, and it was like, how do you really move creativity into tangibility? What does that look like? And I remember laughing about it like 6 months into our podcast, looking back and going, oh, this is my creative project.
Yeah.
This is me healing through my creative project. This is me, what it feels like to actually be aligned in a project. Mm-hmm. And the irony was that I didn't try, that DCA course was my point. Like I didn't go like, oh, I got to go start a podcast now. That's going to be my platform.
Yeah.
It was me following like alignment. And I turn around and I'm like, oh, look at that. I have even more than I could have envisioned. Not like, oh, I have a community to sell to. Like, no, I'm like building an authentic community with being authentic myself. And now I could actually help people if I wanted to even do that.
Yeah.
And that was just a really big eye opener to me. Instead of trying to chase something of like, okay, this is the calculation way that I need to do this. It was like, it found me. How do you be in alignment? And those things line up for you because they do.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to Kiara's TED Talk.
Can't take you anywhere. Can't take you to anywhere. Okay.
You could take her places, just not me.
Not together.
Is there anything like the 5 years from now, still through the lens of Ripple Effect podcast, is there anything that you're like, would love to achieve this?
There's a lot, but the core of it, I think, is just to continue to show up and see where that can take us and take the
Yeah.
podcast.
Follow the power of showing up.
Yeah, and community. That's been, you know, a big want and need for us in change.
Yeah.
And growing that community, because there's metrics of how successful your podcast is, and there's things like monetizing the podcast and needing to have more listens and viewership, and there's that, you know, logistical society of success thing. And then there's which I want for the podcast, you know, like I would love it to be, you know, top of the charts and be, you know, legitimized in that way and monetized. Like I really would. But beyond that, I think Chiara and I have both had moments with each other of being like, what if it worked? Like, what if it actually worked? What if the podcast really did create a ripple effect of change, and we really did help a lot of people, and we really did create this community where people were able to be themselves and be vulnerable and be messy and have each other to lean on and actually make the changes in ourselves so that we can live in a better world, like less dysfunction, more love, you know, what if
More
it
grace.
actually worked?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I don't know if that is a reality in all, you know, all of that without becoming a cult, you know, which is
it's important.
That's a minor distinction, but yes, thank you.
We make a joke about that, but that's real, because listen back to what she said, and every cult leader has said that.
That's okay. That's fair.
Like, and that's it, really important. Like, we don't want followers, we
Yeah.
want community.
Yeah. Yeah.
which a cult leader would say that too.
Any dream contributor or person who would come on your podcast?
You said Neil deGrasse Tyson earlier. I was like,
That would be a dream.
no, that was
He's freaking fabulous.
that would be
He's
geeking
cool
out.
as
But no,
anything.
I think it's more for me. It's more grounded in like as a guest, someone who teaches me something I don't know. I know that sounds really like, and I'm not like two things. Sounds like, oh, I know everything. No, but genuinely like,
I did not take it there.
oh, good.
I
But
was like, oh, that's an interesting way to go.
Teach you something I don't know.
Yeah,
okay.
the
Yeah,
emphasis
yeah.
wasn't. No, I just meant like just the reality of the not the humbleness, but the simplicity of the podcast. It's like I just want to help myself. That's true, and it sounds selfish, but it's not. When, like you said earlier, you said like, but if helping myself, I do believe that or I want to try to prove the hypothesis. What if helping myself can help the whole?
Yeah.
Like, what if that's true? So bringing people on, there's a fascia movement medicine woman named Anna Ray, who I worked with when she lived in West Hollywood, who I think would be incredible to bring on to the podcast, because she just has a wealth of the body and knowledge. There's like again, more neuroscience, if anyone wants to come on and talk about heart coherence and heart, like how that whole thing works. But more just like, yeah, if there's something interesting that I don't know, I want to know it. So that would be cool. It doesn't mean they need to have a title. Like, I just would love that to be part of our learning. And when you said about what's, what in 5 years, I think I just want to echo Isa said. I think if we're still doing the podcast,
Yeah.
which means it does get monetized for sustainability, for health of all, holistic health
Everything,
is
yeah.
part of financial health. And, but yeah, if we get to keep doing it, like, that would be rad.
Yeah.
And I do believe we will. And so what it will look like, I'm like, well, we probably have to get video going at some point. No, but inside of our Patreon community, since we launched our Patreon, to be able to have interaction and have people, really talking to us about what they want to use us as a resource for. I think that would be cool. Having someone write in and be like, hey, I am having this issue with change, or I'm not able to do this modality healing. Like, and then we have the money and the means to be like, I'll go do that for you and I'll report back. And then you can listen in and you can hopefully get that help. If we help people as a resource, dude, that would be so cool. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah.
How do people find you guys if they are interested in finding out more about Ripple Effect Podcast, or you guys individually, whichever one you prefer?
You want to go to www.rippleeffect.com.
Affect
That's
with an A.
affect with an A. And that takes you to our newsletter. And that is a newsletter landing page where you can sign up for our newsletter. And you'll get 2 bonuses. You'll get more information about the podcast, and you get more information about from your host, Michelle, because she writes it. She just released her first one, and it's really, really beautiful, and it's really, really informative and really, really helpful even after just one. So good. I'm looking forward to more. And that is a good place because they'll have updates about the Patreon. They'll get updates about everything. And then the other place is the Instagram for the Ripple Effect podcast. And that's at
Ripple Effect Pod on Instagram and Facebook, and that's affect with an A.
Okay.
And that's where you can get to know Chiara and I a little bit better. We have content on there that's just kind of more get to know us as hosts, as people, as sisters. So it's a good place to message us, or just kind of, I pop in there mostly. Chiara doesn't really go on there.
Way to call out your sister
on purpose. And then, of course, the podcast you can find on Spotify or wherever you listen,
wherever you
to
get your
podcast from. So it's Ripple Affect with an A. Can we say that one more time? It's affect with an A.
In case anyone doesn't know, it's affect with an A.
If you Google search it, sometimes you have to put in the Ripple Affect with an A, and it still changes it to effect.
Yes, they will.
So you have to put Ripple Affect with an A, and then with Cheech and Nibby, which are our nicknames. So yes. I'm Nibby. This is Cheech. And if you put that in, then it'll actually generate. So
do you want to call out any upcoming episodes that people can expect in the new year?
Yes, I do. I have a sofa series, which is when sofa series are when either one of us individually interview someone. And I have a sofa series coming up with my dear friend and practitioner, Helen Vonderheide, where she breaks down the Akashic records and all kinds of different spiritual modalities, but she grounds them really well. And I think that is something that I really want people to listen to, because if they don't have a context for some of this woo-woo stuff, she pulls it into where it's actually helpful and actually applicable. So I'm really looking forward to that one. And what other ones do we have? Oh, and Ryan O'Shea is a voice and presence coach that I interviewed, that I took classes with her that were so fucking dope. And she has a certification in organic intelligence, which she goes into as well. And it's like, it takes, again, some of these concepts of like presentness, or, like just these things that can get out there. And she just puts them in these concrete terms that are really applicable and just usable. And I'm real excited for people to listen to that one as well. So both of those are sofa series that I did. And you were about to interview Danny.
Oh,
I'm going to try to call him out too.
I'm still trying to get him on the podcast. So I have this dear friend, Danny, who is an Englishman and has the best voice. And we've always had really good conversations about change and the world, and our conversations kind of duck walk. They go into like, what if we had sister communities on different ends of the globe, and like we'd help each other with resources or things like that. We just have these really deep, wonderful conversations that sometimes are philosophical, sometimes go into history. He's great. He knows so much history. So I'm trying to get him on the podcast, and I'm massaging him into being brave enough to come on air.
Just send him this podcast.
I'm going to send him this podcast.
This episode.
I'm going to tell him. I'm going to say, Danny, don't worry about what your friends think. He's like, what did he say? He's like, what if Angela hears it? No, who was it? Angela. Yeah. He's like, what if Angela hears it? I'm like, it's okay. She's not going to judge you.
Fuck Angela. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Nothing but love you, Angela.
It was funny. No, so that one, I'm trying to get him on just to have a good, just a conversation about change in the state of our world right now. But I also have been feeling called to do some tactical, or maybe interview style episode around grief. And like unresolved grief and processing grief communication, because that's something that I have experienced a lot in my life, and I'm still working on processing and going through, as well as anxiety. And so those, I think and learning about anxiety in school for psychology, and also the lived experience of anxiety, and just there's so many details. Even with social anxiety, it's the most common form of anxiety, and it's the least treated, and there is help for that. So I just want to try and get more information, again, just like Chiara said, to mirror or mimic what she said, to help myself, and also hold true that will help others.
Yeah, I love that.
And along that lines, we've talked about it, so I want to mention too, the tactical that I'm wanting to put out there is one about asking. And The Art of Asking was a book I read by Amanda Palmer, but beyond that, like how important asking for support is, and the vulnerability that comes up, the difficulty it comes up to receive when you do, just that process of what it looks like to actually get support. What does that mean? And the ask is a part of that, and trying to help people with that, and help myself with that, and what it looks like to receive support, I think would be a good tactical as well. So hopefully that will be in the new year.
So there's no right answer to these, and so I'll just jump into these. What is your favorite sound? I know, right? Like, yeah. See, you weren't expecting that, were you?
I think it's a toss-up between a fire crackling.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And there's 3, Mish. Well,
No, just one.
Okay, then I know what it is. My favorite sound is the sound of a red-tailed hawk making its call.
That is very specific. Okay.
That's one of my favorite sounds in the whole world.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've never thought about that, but I like that sound. What is my favorite sound?
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be the sound of my husband giggling, and now it's the sound of my son's giggle. I have to say, it goes in and touches me in a way that is so good, and I think that's why it's my favorite. Yeah.
Kind of hard not to say that one.
I know. I would hear people say it, and be like, oh, God, come up with something else. But now that I'm in it, I'm like, no, that is it.
I think that's fair.
I wouldn't judge that.
I don't think judge that.
Me neither.
I'd be like, yeah, of
not
course
now.
it is. What's your least favorite sound? Did you say Chiara singing?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Putting words in your mouth, stirring the pot right before I'm about to leave. This is great.
My favorite, my least favorite sound.
Have a good rest of your day, guys.
Is someone in anguish. Yeah. Hearing someone in anguish, and then my son being in anguish is hard.
Least favorite sound. Yeah, that's it. It's similar, probably, but on a broader scale, screaming.
Okay.
Like someone screaming. That's very alarming to me.
Same. I don't do well with screaming. So.
I also really don't like the way a balloon, when someone's fingers go on it, that gets me in my inner. Okay, sorry.
Just felt that. What is your favorite word?
It came in, so I'll just say it. Love came in. I don't know.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something ridiculous.
That's so cheesy. But
That's not cheesy.
Came in. I think it was because it's like when you said the favorite. No, I know when you said my favorite. You said favorite word.
Yeah.
I went beyond the words, and like the feelings came, and so it wasn't really answering what my favorite word is, but my favorite word association.
Yeah, something similar happened to me. And I thought there's this word that I really like because of the sound at the end that is very unique. And it's the plural of wasp.
What is the plural of wasp?
Wasps.
She just like the okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's all profound and saying love, and I'm like, wasps.
It's because I didn't answer the question. I just went like to association. So anyway.
There's no right or wrong answer to these questions, okay? What's your least favorite word?
God, I am just a walking cliche. Hate, but that actually is my least favorite word. No, I really don't like. Like I try not to use
says, like,
hate.
I hate this.
When they say it like really jars me, and I'm like, no, like it's because it leads to all kinds of terrible things, and it isn't even real, and I really do not like that word.
Okay.
I don't.
something definitely has a lot bad taste in your mouth. Whatever one.
No, I don't know. I'm confused. I'm like, what is my least favorite word? It's challenging to think of.
No.
Can't.
No.
That's mine.
No might be my least favorite word.
No.
No.
Yeah. Well.
Except for when Solomon says it.
And then your favorite place, and then I only have one more.
On the globe, like favorite place, like location, or favorite place, like
You can kind of take it
I
wherever
can
you
take
want.
it however I want. Okay. I think it might be oddly specific, but it might be like Onahola Beach on Kauai. That might be one of my it's one of my
a beach on
favorites, for
Kauai
sure.
sounds amazing. Yeah, I could see why.
Song about it.
Yeah.
My favorite place, it still is Lake Atitlan.
Okay.
Yeah, in Guatemala, there's a mountain lake where we own land, and every time I'm in that lake or near that lake, it's perfect for me. Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
What's your favorite curse word?
Oh, I go first. I was trying to think of what that fuck is definitely my favorite curse word, but there's also like a mashup that I do that I realize I use a lot, so it's got to be my favorite. It's like motherfucking shit.
Wait, I think I would take this one from my dad. So he used to like cuss and say fuck, shit, mierda when we were kids.
Oh yeah.
But in his later years, he's changed up his tune, and he just says, what the fuck? It's so good. The question to it, it's so good. I think that might be my favorite, like, cuss little sentences.
Oh yeah. No, my grandfather. This is how I started. Like, I became a fan of cursing because my grandfather, who is Ecuadorian, cursed all the time. I think that's how we learned our first curse words. But
What would he say?
Well, when I got older, it was always piece of the shit. And now I every time someone says this piece of shit, I hear my grandfather's voice in my head being like, piece of that shit. So
I love that.
that's one of my favorite ones. So yes, I get the whole phrases. Yeah, I get that. That wraps up this episode of Jack of No Trades. Thank you very much, you guys.
Thank you so much for having us, Mish. It was such a pleasure. You're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
And that wraps it up for us today. If you want to listen to the Ripple Effect podcast, you can find them wherever you listen to your podcasts. That's Ripple Effect with an A. I would also suggest searching with Cheech and Nibby. You can also find them on Patreon. Both of these things are located in my show notes. That's it for today. Thank you very much for listening. See you next time.
All right. That's it for today's episode. A big thank you to Mish for having us on the Jack of No Trades podcast and for everything she does behind the scenes to help bring this podcast to life. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can find more of her work on Instagram at Jack of No Trades podcast. Definitely go give her a follow and check out the show. As always, if something in this episode resonated with you, feel free to share it with somebody who might enjoy it. We drop our episodes every 2 weeks, at least we try. So we'll see you back here soon. Ciao.
Okay. I think we did it.
Listen, I don't know what we did,
But we did it. Thanks for listening to another episode of The Ripple Affect. We're looking forward to exploring a different facet of change with you next time. If you found value in this episode, please take a second to leave us a review and share with a friend. Every little bit helps the ripple go farther. Thanks for being a part of this experiment with us.
And remember, we're way more connected and deserving than society's false sense of separation dictates us to be. You're not just one person. Your singular efforts do make the collective change possible. We're going to keep showing up and we'll never get to perfection. But if we allow the process to be the solution, we can trust that small ripples will make big waves.
Changing yourself changes the ripple. And what if a collective almost is good enough?
This episode was produced by Chiara Maya, Isa Griffin, and Michelle Asaro. Audio editing by Jessica Ansari. And music by the talented Nia Casasanta. Thank you all. This podcast is not possible without the contribution of your skills, talent, support, and generosity.